Got. Hmm. So our lab is lab diagnosis of the respiratory infection. This is the sixth lab, and I think this is the last one of this respiratory course. And next Sunday we have the ROSPI about the labs. So what are the objectives? Objectives are then after the completion of this lab, you should be explained the why sputum is important for the microscopy. Okay, and then you know why on examination of a smear of sputum, the laboratory will reject some samples of the saliva and not the sputum. It means when you perform the microscopy, so the lab personnel may be refuse some specimen as a saliva. They cannot consider the specimen as a sputum. So what are the reasons behind this? We will discuss today, inshallah. Then know the sensitivity and specificity of the sputum culture and the proper way of obtaining the sputum from the gram stain and the culture. Okay, so when we take the sputum, so with what type of culture we perform, okay, and what type of sputum we perform for the gram staining and culture. Then briefly discuss the lab diagnosis of the bacterial pharyngitis. Okay, bacterial pharyngitis, and then briefly discuss the lab diagnosis of the lower respiratory tract infection, which are the more dangerous, more severe as compared to the upper respiratory tract infections, with special references to the importance of the acid-fast stain in the diagnosis of the pulmonary tuberculosis. Okay, these are our some objectives, and our lab is comprised of these objectives. Okay. First of all, infection of the upper respiratory tract, which is called the pharyngitis. Okay. What is mean by the pharyngitis? Inflammation of the pharynx. Inflammation of the pharynx. If you comprise the respiratory tract, this is the area where which is called the pharynx. Okay. So this is called the inflammation of the pharynx is called the pharyngitis. Same like the larynx, inflammation of the larynx called the laryngitis. Okay. So whenever the word is itis, it means the inflammation of the part which is mentioned before this suffix. Okay, so which type of specimen we require for upper respiratory tract infection? They include the throat swab and the nasopharyngeal swab. Throat swab mostly for the pharyngitis and nasopharyngeal swab mostly for the diphtheria. After collection of the throat swab and nasopharyngeal swab, the next step is to transport the specimen. Okay, and when we transfer the specimen to the lab, it should be cultured and perform the lab within the 4 hours. Okay, or the swab must. If the swab is dry, it means the specimen has been destroyed. So there is no need to use the specimen. Okay, so when you receive the specimen, you find the specimen with the help of the swabs. So transfer it within the 4 hours, and the lab process should be started within the 4 hours. Okay, if it is delayed, then swab has to be stored in the transport medium. Okay, but if you thought that maybe it will take some time, you can the specimen could not be reached to the lab within 4 hours. So that specimen or the swab should be stored in the transport medium. Okay, before proceeding the lab. Clear? So throat swab is used for the pharyngitis and nasopharyngeal swab is used for the diphtheria infections. Okay. So how we collect the specimen? The swab. Okay. This is the patient posture. They sit in front of the personnel who deals with the specimen collection and then take the swab, okay, which is the sterile swab along with the suitable transport media. So take the swab by the nasal cavity, okay, and touch the area here and then select back and put into the transport medium and then send to the lab. This is the video just mentioned in the my presentation. You can see this video by yourself, okay, to save the time. It is not working here, maybe the internet. So this is the way how you select the nasopharyngeal swab. I think something wrong with the internet or with this video. It is cannot be loaded. So maybe later it will be loaded so you can see by yourself. Okay, the other sample is the throat swab. For throat swab, you can use the cotton swab as well as the rayon. Okay, the synthetic swab, which is called the rayon, and the Dacron swab. These swab can help you to collect the specimen. Okay, and for the selection, you should touch your this swab along with the tonsillar region. Okay, do not protect your swab to touch with the buccal cavity or the tongue or the other area. Okay, because it contains most of the normal flora. So when you touch here, so it means you will find the wrong bacteria. Okay, which is not the cause of the infection. So when you are trying to collect the specimen, so touch the swab along with the tonsillar region. Clear? Okay, okay. This is another video for the throat swab collection. So see it by yourself. Now, diagnosis of the streptococcal pharyngitis. The pharyngitis, which is the inflammation of the pharynx, is mostly caused by the streptococcal bacteria. And which streptococci? Streptococcal pneumoniae, Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay, but mostly the involvement is the Streptococcus pneumoniae, which is the beta hemolytic. Okay, so when we select the specimen, we perform the microscopy. First, we grow on the culture. Okay, first we grow on the culture, and in which culture? On the differential media or the enriched media, which is called the blood agar. Okay, this blood agar after 24 hours gives you the beta hemolytic colonies. Okay, which means the bacteria is the group A beta streptococci. Clear? For their confirmation, you perform the microscopy, which is the gram scan, as well as the RADT, which is called the rapid antigen detection test. Okay, this test is involves a quick throat swab. Within the minutes, or hardly 10 minutes to 15 minutes, you will find the results. So it is a very rapid test. It will take only 10 to 15 minutes. After 10 to 15 minutes, you will confirm that the sample shows the presence of the group A streptococci. Okay, so in upper respiratory tract infection, the pharyngitis is mostly caused by the streptococcal pneumonia or streptococcal bacteria. Okay, so when you take the specimen, you select the specimen, collect through the swab, and then transport to the lab. So in the lab, you first perform the culture. You grow the bacteria on the artificial medium, which is called the blood agar. On the blood agar, after 24 hours, the organism shows the beta hemolytic colonies, okay, which confirm that this is the group A beta streptococci. Maybe, okay, maybe the group A beta cocci, maybe the other streptococcus. So on this point, we just find that the organism are the streptococci, okay, streptococci, or they are the beta hemolytic. For their confirmation, we perform the rapid antigen detection test, which is done within the 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and it is very specific test related with the streptococcal bacteria, and it shows the presence of the group A streptococci. Okay, so this is the blood agar. On the blood, we take the sample from the throat swab. Okay, from the throat swab, and then when grow on the blood agar, next day we find the colonies, which are the beta hemolytic. What do you mean by beta hemolytic? If you remember, can anybody explain me or tell me what is the beta hemolytic? Complete lysis, yes. Complete hemolysis, good. Yes, yes. So if you remember, there are three types of the hemolysis: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha is A for alpha, A for almost. Okay, almost means not complete. it is the hemolysis but not complete. So remember, A for alpha, A for almost, then B for beta hemolysis, and B for the best. Best means complete hemolysis. And the last one is the gamma. Gamma is look like the Arabic word la. La means no hemolysis. So there are three types of hemolysis: no hemolysis, almost hemolysis but not complete. It should be a greenish tinge. Okay, when you see on the plate, it is the greenish color, okay, which are not clear. So it is called the alpha hemolysis. But this Streptococcus pyogenes or Streptococcus pneumoniae give you the beta hemolytic colonies, which are the clear zone around the colonies, very clear. It means all the hemoglobin which are present on the RBCs are destroyed or hemolyzed by the bacteria, which has the enzyme hemolysin. Okay, so when you see the beta, when you see the blood agar plate along with this hemolysis, so it is the beta hemolysis colonies by group A streptococci. Group A streptococci means they always give you the beta hemolysis, and group B streptococci always give you the alpha hemolysis. They are the opposite to each other. Okay, so we perform on the blood agar plate. Now we have the colonies which are the beta hemolytic colonies. As if you remember, see again, we have a culture. We perform the throat culture through the blood agar. On blood agar, we find the beta hemolytic colonies. Okay, so after the beta hemolytic colonies, our next step is to perform the RADT, which is the rapid antigen detection test. Okay, in this test we have the a complete kit which is available in the in the market. We have these kits in the labs. So it contains the solution A, solution B, which has the sodium nitrate as well as the acetic acid. We combine, we put the 4 drops of both thing in the tube. Okay, then we put our swab into this material, in the solution 10 times. Okay, then remain it for the 1 minute. After 1 minute, we take a drop. Okay, we take a drop from the solution and enter here. This is the specimen sample place. Okay, this is one type of the tube. This is one type of the strip which is available. So we put the drop here and wait for the 10 minutes. Okay, another thing is we have the strips like this. Okay, and we have the strips like this. So we put the strip in this solution and remain for 1 minute. After this, we put this strip straight on the floor or on the tissue paper and wait for the 10 minutes. What happened after 10 minutes? After 10 minutes, if the specimen or the swab contain the streptococcal infection, so it means they have the streptococcal bacteria, and these streptococci has the antigen on the bacteria act as antigen. So if they have the antigen, these antigens are combined here. Okay, where at this place there are the anti-streptococcal antibodies are available. I will answer you later, Abdulaziz. I will answer you later after this test. Okay, so this here at this place there are the streptococcal antibodies are present there. Okay, so if the in patient are coming with the sample and sample contain the streptococcal antigen, so they react with this streptococcal antibodies. So here you find a color, here you find a band, a color line. Okay, it means the test is positive. It means the specimen contain the streptococcal antigen or streptococcal bacteria. Okay, the other line is the control line. It contain anti-rabbit sheep RBC, sorry, anti-rabbit antibodies which is prepared in the goat. So left the things, but it should be here. This is the control line, and this solution contain the antibodies antigen against these antibodies. So because we use the same solution always, it means always you find here the control line. This line means the test is valid, the test is okay. Okay, the test is okay, and this line means the test is positive or negative. If there is no line, it means the test is negative, the test is valid. But if there is a line here, okay, So it means the test is valid as well as the positive. Again, I'm showing you here. This is the test. Okay, it is a 5 minute video. You can see by yourself. Then your concept will be very clear, inshallah. So yes, yes. I'm now look. First of all, this test is not the replacement of the blood culture. Okay, when you find on the blood agar, you find the beta hemolytic colonies. Okay, when you find the beta hemolytic colonies, then for the confirmation of streptococcal, okay, streptococcal, you perform this test. Okay, in this test you use the swab which is embedded into the solution, and after this take a 1 or 2 drops and put here, or in the previous method to put this strip to the solution. Okay, in both the cases, what happened in both the cases, you find one line or two line. Okay, the first line is this one. It is always present. This T line, T means the test. Sorry, this T lines, and the second one is the C line. The first one, this C line is always present. Most of the time it is present because this is the confirmed test. This is the control test. It means the test is okay. If this line is not present, it means your test is not valid. This test is destroyed. So you perform another test. Okay, this line. If this line is not present, it means your test is invalid. It has some problem, so that's why the test is not giving the results. So this line should be present. If this line is not present, it means your test is invalid. So destroy the test and perform again. And the second line, this line is based on the presence of the streptococcal antigen. Clear? If the streptococcal antigen is present in the sample, then this streptococcal and on this line at this place, on this place there are anti-streptococcal antibodies are present. These anti-streptococcal antibodies are attached here. So when from here, because of the capillary action, now from the sample, the streptococcal antigens are moving from here to here like this in the capillary direction. It will take 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, when these streptococcal antigens are reached here, so at this place all antibodies against these streptococcal are present. So they combine with these antigen, as a result of which this line is produced. Okay, so if the antigen is not present in the specimen, it means there is no antigen antibody reaction. So there is no line. It means when there is no line, it means that patient specimen does not contain the streptococcal antigen. It means the infection is not the streptococcal infection. But if the line is present, it means this test is positive for the streptococcal infection. Okay, and the line of C is the validity of the test. If this line is present, it means your test is valid. If this line is not present, it means the test is invalid, and you perform the test again. Clear? Hello, everyone clear? If you have any query, ask. Okay, so remember this. Yes, again. So you remember this. From the beginning, you have performed the throat culture. On throat culture, you receive the beta hemolytic colonies. These beta hemolytic colonies are the streptococcus group A. So you perform the rapid antigen detection test. On rapid antigen detection test, you find, if you find the both line, it means your test is valid as well as positive for the streptococci. If this line is present and this line is not present, okay, for example, this line is not present, okay, this line is not present, it means the test is valid and test is negative. If both lines are not present, it means test is negative as well as test is invalid. So more this line should be there. If this line, the line of C means control. Control, if you remember in ELISA, you also have the control. Control is the master to compare something. So if this line is present, it means your test is okay. Your technique is okay. Your test is okay. You perform very well. So there is no problem with the test. The problem is only that the sample does not contain the streptococcal antigen. If both lines present, your test is positive as well as the valid. If one line is positive, one negative, test is negative as well as valid. If this line is present and this line is both line are not present, it means the test is invalid. So perform again. Please watch all three videos. So this test, this video, the rapid step test, this video will clear your concept, inshallah. Now, Corynebacterium diphtheria. For now, streptococcal is finished. Now, there is a Corynebacterium diphtheria. Okay. For this purpose, we use the telluride blood agar. For streptococcal, we use the blood agar. Okay. Here we use the telluride blood agar. Clear? For streptococcal, we use the sheep blood agar, which contain the 5% of the sheep blood. Now, for the Corynebacterium, we use the telluride blood agar. Okay, on telluride blood agar, the colonies are the gray or the black. Okay, you can again with the help of the cotton tip applicator, you can collect the swab by the pharyngeal tonsils, okay, or their beds. Then calcium arginate swab for the nasopharynx you can perform, okay, and this swab is performed very expertise because of the pseudomembrane. Okay, this pseudomembrane can hide the tonsillar region. So you to avoid for this process, to you should expose the applicator through the pseudomembrane. Okay. Now this is the telluride blood agar. The blood agar is very red. The telluride blood agar is also red. Okay, but on the blood agar, if you see the colonies, these are the gray to black colonies. Okay, gray to black colonies on the telluride blood agar. If you see the blood agar along with the beta hemolysis, it means remember that the organisms are the group A streptococci. Okay, the Pseudomonas, the Streptococcal pyogenes or the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Clear? Sorry, Streptococcus pyogenes, not pneumonia. Group A is the Streptococcus pyogenes. Sorry, okay. Let me correct myself. So when you find the beta hemolysis here on blood agar, so they are the Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay, they are Streptococcus pyogenes. But on telluride blood agar, you cannot find these type of colonies. You find the gray to black colonies. So it means the organism is the Clostridium, Corynebacterium diphtheria. Okay. Now, until now, we cover the upper respiratory tract infection. In upper respiratory tract infection, we just cover the pharyngitis and the Corynebacterium diphtheria and the diphtheria. In diphtheria, we have the pseudomembrane. So, to dismiss some pseudomembrane and reach to the tonsillar region and collect the sample and grow on the telluride blood agar. On telluride blood agar, the colonies are the black or the gray. Okay, but on blood agar, if you find the colonies, the beta hemolysis, it means the organism is the group A streptococci. Okay, now lower respiratory tract infection, you have the bronchitis, bronchiolitis, pneumonia, and the pleural infections. And mostly the specimens are the sputum, okay, tracheostomy aspirates, bronchoscopy, transtracheal aspirates, open lung biopsy specimen. But here we only concern with the sputum. Mostly we concern with the sputum. Okay, why sputum? Because it is one of the most common type of the specimen in the laboratory for the bacterial examination, sputums. Okay, it is very difficult to obtain because of the contamination of the saliva. If we remember our ILOs, in our ILOs, what we said, sometime the lab personnel reject the specimen as a saliva, not as a sputum. Why? Because when we collect the sputum, at that time there is some contamination from the saliva. So the organism present in the saliva are also present in the sputum. So that's why it is very difficult to identify the causative agent or the bacteria which is cause the infection. So that's why at that time we reject the specimen as a saliva. Okay, some specimen are collected via the bronchoscopy or through an endotracheal tube, maybe mixed with the oropharyngeal secretions. Many of the bacteria which are known to cause lower respiratory tract infection may be present in the oropharynx as a part of the normal flora. So, as we already discussed that when the saliva or is mixed with the sputum, so we reject the specimen. Why? Because most of the organisms which cause the infection in the lungs, which are present in the sputum, they are a part of the normal flora, okay, of a mouth. So where it's very difficult to distinguish between this is the normal flora or the causative agent. So that's why we reject the specimen at that time. Clear? The examination of a direct smear from the specimen can be very helpful. Okay. So this is the sputum, and when we find some things or some bacteria which are the part of the saliva, so we reject the specimen as a contaminated of saliva, and we cannot proceed with the sample as a sputum. Now, this is the microscopic examination of the sputum. When you perform the microscopic examination by the Gram staining of the sputum, so what are the rules? First of all, you should select the 10x objective. Okay, you should 10x objective, and then you find a suitable screen. You find a suitable field. Suitable field, you will find the place where there is no thick smear. So you find a very fine smear there with the help of 10x. Then you put the 100x oil lens, and then put a 1 drop of oil immersion, and then you examine the microscopy. Okay. Now, what elements may be present in the sputum? Yes. Can anybody tell me? Low power objective, like low power means, if you remember in microscope in our first lab in the invader and defender, in invader and defender when we discuss about the microscopes, we study about the three type of the lens: the 10x, the 40x, and the 100x. So 10x is the low objective, which has the 10 power. So when it combined with the 10 power of your eye lens, so it the magnification is the 100x. So 10x is the lowest object. Okay, 10x is the lowest object lens. It will help you to find the right place for the examination. When you find the right place, means there is no thick smear, there is a very fine smear, you can see the field very easily. Then you will shift your 10x into the 100x, the third lens, okay, and see under the microscope which type of minerals, which type of elements are present in this field. So my question is that when you examine, in your thinking, which type of elements you will find? Yes. Microorganism, good. Anything else? Cells, which type of cells? Epithelial cells, excellent. Immune cells, excellent. Leukocytes, excellent. Yes, very good, mashallah. Good. Yes. So when we see the sputum under the microscope, we find many elements. First of all is squamous epithelial cells. Okay, they are the large flat plate like cells. Okay, very clear or ground glass cytoplasm. Okay, no granular, the ground glass, very clear cytoplasm. Okay, relatively small dense nucleus frequently located. Okay, the nucleus is mostly present in the acentrally, not in the center, a little bit in the corner or in the side. So okay, so when you find these epithelial cells on the 10x, it means your specimen is not good. Okay, it is a contamination of the saliva. Okay, why? Because the squamous epithelial cells are easily are mostly present in the mouth. Okay, they are generated in the mouth, they are not present in the sputum. So when you find these epithelial cells, okay, they are very crystal clear ground glass like appearance, which are asymmetrical nucleus, okay, and they are appears on the 10x. Look here, this is the 10x, okay, not 100x, 10x. So these very big cells. So on 10x, very difficult to see the bacteria, okay. So it means there is a contamination of the saliva. When you are collecting the sputums from the sample, there is saliva is enter into the sputum. So you can reject the sample. Okay, the other thing, look here, this is the epithelial cells again. Now this is the 100x, this is the 10x. Look at the size of the 10x. When you change the length from 10 to 100, oil immersion, now look at the size of the epithelial cells. The very big. Now the nucleus is look like the whole cell. Okay, and these are the bacteria which are present in the mouth, oropharynx. Okay, which are the, it means they are the contamination from the saliva. Because when there is an infection, the organism should be a single type. Most of the type, single type, maybe streptococcal, maybe diphtheria, maybe Haemophilus influenzae, maybe Pseudomonas, okay, maybe Klebsiella pneumoniae. Only one type of organism can cause the infection at a time. So if you have multi type of bacteria, look here, these are the streptococci, these are the fungi, these are something wrong, this is Haemophilus, okay, it is a combined, it is a mixed flora, it means this is the contamination from the saliva, and this specimen is not suitable for the further testing. So you can reject this one. Clear? Okay. Now the second of cell, as you said, the leukocytes or the immune cells. So yes, the immune cells are the polymorph neutrophils. Okay, they are present there, and they are present in the large number. Look here, they are the multi-lobed nuclei. They have the granular cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm contain phagocytosed bacteria. In case of the epithelial cells, they are the single nucleus, which are the acentric, as well as the cytoplasm is very clear, ground clear, okay, glass clear appearance. Whereas in case of the neutrophils, you find the neutrophil along with the multi-lobe nucleus, which contain the granular cytoplasm, and sometimes the cytoplasm contain the phagocytosed bacteria inside the cytoplasm. So how they appear? They appear like this. Look here. Okay, this is the neutrophil, polymorph neutrophils which has the multi-lobe nucleus. Look here, multi-lobe nucleus, multi-lobe nucleus, multi-lobe nucleus. Okay, and these nucleus, there is no epithelial cells on high power field. When you find these neutrophils, it means that your specimen is very clear and very good specimen, and you can perform other tests along with this specimen. Clear? Okay. 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 Now the other thing, the first, when I asked the question under the microscope, which type of elements can you see? The first answer was the bacteria. Okay. The second option was the epithelial cell, and then third was the immune cells. So the bacteria is almost present. Okay, and the etiology of the bacterial infection cannot be diagnosed solely by the gram stain morphology. Okay, so when you perform the gram staining, you can identify that the bacteria is gram positive or gram negative. Okay, so if you find the cocci, you can say maybe they are the streptococci, they are the staphylococci, okay, they are the diplococci, but you cannot be confirmed. For confirmation, you perform the different test like the culture After culture, you perform the other test like the RADT. Okay, you see the hemolysis on the blood agar, and then you can identify. So on the basis of gram stain, you can assume that you do have the gram positive or gram negative bacteria with which type of the shape. But for the confirmation, you perform the other test. Okay, so you perform the tentative diagnosis, not the complete diagnosis. In sputum smear, most of the time you find Streptococcus pneumoniae, then Staphylococci, Haemophilus influenzae, members of the Enterobacteriaceae, and the some Pseudomonas. So most of the time when you perform the gram stain, so under the gram stain you can find the gram positive cocci, maybe the streptococci or the staphylococci. Okay, so when you find the staphylococci, you just diagnose that these I find the staphylococci. Okay, but maybe they are staphylococcus aureus or not. For this purpose you perform another test. So if you find the streptococci, so in the chains, so you can say we find the streptococcus organisms. They are pneumonia or not. For this purpose, you perform another test. Okay. If you remember in our previous labs in the pre-math, so when there are the staphylococci or streptococci, so we perform the which test? We perform the catalase test. If the catalase test is positive, so our organism is the staphylococci, and the catalase test is negative, the organism was the streptococci. Okay, and after this we perform the coagulase test. If the coagulase test is positive, the organism was the staphylococci, and the coagulase test is negative, the organism is the other than staphylococcus, maybe the streptococcus epidermidis. Okay, and streptococcus pneumoniae, then we perform the bacitracin as well as the operation disc test, so they will confirm our diagnosis. So on the basis of the gram stain, we just know the know the morphology of the organism, but not the complete diagnosis. Okay, Haemophilus influenzae, they are the pleomorphic rods. Okay, and they are present as a gram negative pleomorphic rods. Pleomorphic means different in shapes, small, maybe thick, maybe thin. Okay, if they are combined with each other, their appearance as chain. If they are single, their appearance as single, maybe the comma shape. So different thing, type of the shapes. Now I am showing you the things. Now this is the streptococci, or you can say the pneumococci, or you can say the streptococcus pneumoniae. What is the identification mark? They are the gram positive because they are the purple in color. Okay, and then these gram positive are arranged in a pairs, as a pair. Okay, they are arranged in a pairs. And same here, in this is another slide, the sample B, it also contains the gram positive cocci which are arranged in the pairs. So when they are arranged in the pairs, they are the gram positive, they are called the streptococcus pneumoniae. And if you see here, there is no epithelial cells, there is no epithelial cells. You find here the polymorph neutrophils, multi-lobe polymorph neutrophil. It means the specimen is very good. It is not poor. It is a good specimen, and this specimen is from sputum, not from the saliva. So the specimen is okay. In both the cases, the specimen is okay, and you find only one type of organism, which are the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, and which contain the halo marks around these bacteria, which are the capsule, which are very difficult to find in the gram stain, but sometime you can observe here. So if you see here in the figure A, you find the halo mark, which are the capsules around these bacteria. Clear? Okay. So, but if I put here, maybe this smear is present. This is the, if this is my question, look here, this is the specimen A, and this is the specimen B. Okay, which one is poor and which one is good? First one is good. Why? No epithelial cells. and only one type of bacteria are present there. Okay, if here, look here, here epithelial cell, it means the saliva contamination. So that's why you have the mixed flora. You have the mixed flora. It means this sample is not good. Look here, they are gram negative bacteria, they are gram positive bacteria. You have epithelial cells. Okay, you have something here. You have many type of bacteria here. So it is a mixed flora. This specimen is not good. Okay, so after Streptococcus pneumoniae, now the other is the Haemophilus influenzae. As we say that Haemophilus influenzae is the pleomorphic. Okay, it is the pleomorphic rods. Pleomorphic. They are Haemophilus influenzae. They are Haemophilus influenzae. They all are the gram negative and they appear in the different shapes. So they are called the pleomorphic. Pleomorphic means more than one shape. Okay, more than one shape. Somewhere single, somewhere they are combined. Okay, somewhere they are more fat, sometime very thin. So this is the Haemophilus influenzae. Clear? So when you find these type of slide, you should be reported as the small pleomorphic gram negative rods. Just there is no need to set that these are the Haemophilus influenzae, but you report it as that small pleomorphic gram negative rods. Clear? So after this, if you confirm, if you grow the bacteria and then you perform different tests, then you can confirm that on the basis of your preliminary diagnosis, we perform the culture and after culture some biochemical test, as a result of which we find that these gram negative small pleomorphic rods are Haemophilus influenzae. Clear? Okay, now this is the mixed flora we discussed before. This is the oropharyngeal flora because of the saliva of contamination of the saliva. So when saliva is mixed with the sputum, you find the epithelial cells and mixed flora, which shows that this specimen is not good. Okay, sometime you can also find the yeast. What are the yeast? Yeast is the fungi. Okay, mostly which type of fungi is yeast? Can you give me the name? Candida, yes. Excellent, Salman. Candida, yes. Because Candida is the part of the normal flora of the mouth. Okay, Candida is part of the normal flora. So when you find these fungi, so it also indicates that there is a contamination of the saliva in your sputum specimen. Okay, so a small number is most time present in the mouth. They are present in the small number, but if their number are increased, it means that patient is immunocompromised or immunosuppressed. Okay, or maybe the patient is on the broad spectrum antibiotics. So these broad spectrum antibiotics kills the bacteria of the normal flora of the mouth and they are grow in the large number because now the situation is more favorable to this fungi. Now all the nutrition for them so they can grow, as a result of which they cause the oral thrush or the oral candidiasis. Okay, so when you find the yeast in the normal number, it is most of the time it is a part of the normal flora, but if you find the candida in the very large number, it means there is a oral thrush or the oral candidiasis because of the maybe the patient is immunocompromised or maybe the patient on the broad spectrum antibiotics like the cephalosporins, cefspan or the clarithromycin or the other broad spectrum antibiotic. So which killed all the normal flora, as a result of which the situation is favorable for the growth of the fungi. So they grow in the large number. Clear? Now see this picture. This is the alveolar macrophages or the polymorph neutrophils. Okay, they are present in the large number. This is the 10x, not the 100x. Why is this 10x? Because if you see here, the neutrophils are or the polymorph alveolar macrophages are present in the very small size. So the small size represent that this is the 10x. So presence of polymorph neutrophils along with the mucus confirm that our specimen is very good and ready to use for the diagnostic purpose, because there is no epithelial cells are present here. Okay, now here the epithelial cells are present along with the mixed flora. This means this specimen is poor. Okay, now what are the rules, on what basis we can say the specimen is good or a specimen is poor? Okay, so for this purpose we have two criteria, and the criteria because of the presence of the two cells, epithelial cells as well as the polymorph neutrophil cells. Okay, if on the low power field is the 10x. Okay, what is the low power field? Low power field is 10x. Okay, so if in low power field you find less than, okay, this sign always it means less, and this means more. If you thought that this is the crocodile, this is the crocodile mouth, okay, this is the mouth of the crocodile. So the if the mouth is closed here on the left side, okay, so it means this is the less than. And if the mouth is open from the left side and closed on the right side, so it means this is the more than. So for this purpose, for your rememberness, if you see your left hand, okay, and you open, you combine your two fingers, index and middle, with one side, and the lady finger, and sorry, and the last one and the third finger combined, and you find the arrow like this. So always when your arrow is like your left hand, so this is the less than, and the right hand means the more than. So if you find less than 10 epithelial, good, you understand now, good, good, okay. So when the less than 10 epithelial cells, low power field, and more than 25 neutrophils, low power field, it means the specimen is very good. Okay, but if the specimen is less than 25 neutrophils and more than 10 epithelial cells as a low power field, it means the specimen is poor and the bad quality. So you should replace this specimen, okay, along with the select the another specimen which should be contain less than 10 epithelial cells and more than 25 neutrophils. Okay, here this is the sputum examination. You find the polymorph neutrophils. There is no epithelial cells. Maybe if you count this one as a 1, so it is less than 10, so it is a good quality specimen. If you see here, okay, sputum contain the polymorph neutrophils as well as the bacteria which are the streptococcus. Clear? So it is the good quality specimen. But here, if you remember this slide, yes, this one, it contains more than 10 neutrophils. It's more than 10 epithelial cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when you count it's more than 10, it means this is the poor quality or the bad quality specimen. So you reject this specimen. Now we almost cover our portions. Now we are moving towards the Ziehl-Neelsen staining, and this staining is performed for the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, we learn in the details in our gram staining and the in our microscopy in the Invader Defender Lab 1. So there is no need to again explaining. So just remember that the Ziehl-Neelsen staining is also called the acid-fast staining, and it is performed for the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Why? Because the cell wall of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis has the huge coat of the lipoid capsule. around the cell wall. So it cannot allow the gram stain to enter inside the cell membrane. As a result of which we need another type of staining. As a result of which our stain can enter into the cell wall, and through which we can see the bacteria. Okay, so for this purpose we perform the Zeal-Lancel staining, and Zeal-Lancel staining contain the carbon fission, the 3% acid alcohol, which is called the decolorizer, and malachite green and the methylene blue as a counter stain. And before this step, we perform the heating procedure. Okay, if you remember the heating on the slide after adding the dye, which allow the dye to enter into in the cell wall of the this type of the bacteria. Okay. For Nocardia, we also perform the Zeal-Lancel staining, and in Zeal-Lancel staining for Nocardia, we use 1% acetic acid, 1% acid instead of the 3%, which is performed for the mycobacteria. So here we use two type of dye, the carbon fission and the malachite green or methylene blue. In gram staining, the gram positive appears as the purple and gram negative appears as the pink or the red. But in this case, the Zeal-Lancel positive or acid-fast positive bacteria appears as a red in color, as well as acid-fast negative bacteria appears as the blue or the green in color. Clear? So if you see the here, this is the Zeal-Lancel staining, and we find the acid-fast bacilli pink in color. Okay, pink in color. If I remove this, okay, I remove this one, you cannot find here acid-fast bacilli. Okay, if I mention here, now you are observing a slide of the gram stain. Okay, so what type of bacteria you can see here? So you say they are the gram negative because they are pink in color. But now when I mention that this slide is based on the acid fast staining and we perform the Zeal-Lancel staining, so now what is your diagnosis? So your diagnosis should be they are the acid fast positive bacilli, okay, which are most probably the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Why? Because they are pink. And why pink? Because they can get the color of the color of the first dye, basic dye, which is the carbon fission, which is red in color. So as a result of which these bacteria appear as a pink in color. So that's why they are the acid fast positive bacilli, and most probably they are the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Clear? Okay. Now, when you find this bacteria in microscopy, in acid fast, you find the acid fast positive bacilli, then you need a conventional cultural media for the growth of this bacteria, and mostly we use the selective medium, which is called the LJ medium. Okay, LJ medium. This is a selective medium and it is required for the growth of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, and this media is after inoculation incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for a period of 8 weeks. Okay, they are a very slow grower, so it will take 8 weeks to grow on 37 degree centigrade. Why we choose 37 degrees centigrade? Because it is the body temperature, okay, of the human beings. So culture should be read after 5 to 7 days after the inoculation, and then once a week thereafter up to the 8 weeks. So we can see every week after the inoculation, but first after 5 to 7 days we can see if we find the colonies, we make the slides again. Okay, but if we couldn't find the colonies, so we grow for the 8 weeks, and every week we can see the growth of the bacteria. Okay, and if the growth is present, the growth is look like the buff colonies like this on the LJ medium. So it is mostly on the slant on the test tube. Okay, on the test tube you find the buff colonies. So these buff colonies shows or confirm the presence of the acid fast bacilli, which most of the time is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Clear? Okay, now the other specimen include the bronchoscopy. It includes now sputum is finished. Now the bronchoscopy is performed for it includes the bronchial alveolar lavage, okay, the bronchial washing, the bronchial brushing, the transtracheal aspirates, the transbronchial biopsies. These are the different procedures, okay, by which we can perform the bronchoscopies. Okay, in bronchial wash, we use the specimen. To collect for the specimen, we add little amount of the sterile saline, okay, into the bronchial tree, and then we withdraw the fluid with the help of this bronchoscope. Okay, this bronchoscope, from here we can add some normal saline, sterile saline. Okay, and this bronchoscope also contains some, here is a scope contain the camera by which we can observe the material which is present in the bronchial tree. Okay, so this is the technique by which we can collect the bronchial wash, bronchial aspirates and other things. Okay, so this is another picture. This is the bronchoscope. Okay, and from this here is a camera and here is a needle which can throw the normal saline in the bronchial tree, and then we collect again with the help of the sucker. So now again, this is just for the reminder that when you on the blood agar, okay, so this is just for the technique. So what happened, leave it. Now here you again, when you perform the sputum culture for the bacterial pneumonia, so when you perform the bronchoscopy, you perform the bronchoscopy. After bronchoscopy, you have the sputum and something with the aspirates from this bronchoscopy. And when you perform on the blood, the culture on the blood agar as well as on the McConkey agar, so you will find the hemolytic colonies. So hemolytic colonies, beta hemolytic colonies. Okay. So when you find the beta hemolytic colonies, it means the organism is the maybe the staphylococcus or maybe the streptococcus. So at this stage, you perform the catalase test. This catalase test differentiate between the staphylococcus and the streptococcus. So if the catalase test is positive, it means this is the staphylococcus. If catalase test is negative, this is the streptococcus. But both give you the beta hemolytic colonies like this. Okay, so at this stage you perform the catalase test, which is positive for the staphylococcus and negative for the streptococcus pyogenes. Clear? On McConkey agar is basically okay. Before this, alpha hemolytic colonies of the Streptococcus pneumoniae. So Streptococcus pneumoniae belongs to the group B Streptococci, and they give the look here, the greenish colonies, not like the clear colonies like this. Okay, here is a beta hemolytic, almost not, it is a complete hemolysis, but in this case this is almost complete but not the complete, almost but not the complete. So this is the alpha hemolytic colonies, and alpha hemolytic colonies on the blood agar is mostly belong to the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Beta hemolytic colonies are mostly belong to the Staphylococci or the Streptococcus pyogenes. So for to differentiate between them, we perform the catalase test. Catalase test positive means Staphylococcus, and catalase test means negative means Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay. Then we perform the another culture technique, and this is on the McConkey agar. Okay. So this McConkey agar is the differential media as well as the selective media. Okay. It is the how it is selective, because it selects the growth of the, it allows the growth of the gram-negative bacteria and don't allow the growth of the gram-positive bacteria. So if they are the streptococci, they cannot be grow on the McConkey agar. But Haemophilus influenzae, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Pseudomonas, and some member of the Enterobacter family can grow on the McConkey agar. So these pinkish colonies means they are the lactose fermenter colonies, okay, and there is no pink color of the McConkey agar, okay, it means the colonies of the non-lactose fermenter, and these are the Pseudomonas. Okay, if they are lactose fermenter, in case of pneumonia, the organism should be the Klebsiella pneumoniae, and the non-lactose fermenter colonies, the organisms are the Pseudomonas. Okay, so If we have the bronchial washing from the lungs, so we perform the culture. For the culture purpose, we use three type of the media. We use the blood agar, we use the McConkey agar, and we use the beef extract charcoal agar. Okay. So on the blood agar, if the colonies are the beta hemolytic, it means the organism may be Staphylococci or Streptococcus pyogenes. So if they are the Staphylococcus and Streptococcus pyogenes, for this purpose we perform the catalase test, and catalase test positive means the organism are the Staphylococcus aureus, and catalase test negative means the organisms are the Streptococcus pyogenes. But if you find the alpha hemolytic colonies on blood agar, so it will tell you that most probably the organisms are the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Clear? So on the other hand, on the other media, if they are the infection is caused by the gram negative bacteria, so they will grow on the McConkey agar. Okay. And on McConkey agar, if they give the pink color colonies, the mucoid pink color colonies, okay, so it means the organisms is Klebsiella pneumoniae, which give you the lactose fermenting colonies, and lactose fermentation is showing because of this pink color, which has an indicator, and this color is changed into pink because of the acid production, which is produced because of the lactose sugar which is present in the medium. Okay. In this case, pseudomonas cannot ferment the lactose, so there is no acid production. When there is no acid production, the media color cannot be changed and remain the same color. So it will indicate that the organism is a pseudomonas. Okay. And the last, on the beef yeast extract agar, beef buffered charcoal yeast agar, the colonies of the Legionella pneumophila appears the white gray to the blue gray. Okay. And when you put the ultraviolet light on these colonies are fluorescent as the yellow green colonies. So we use for the after bronchoscopy we use three type of media. In three type of media we use the blood agar, we use the BCYE buffered charcoal yeast agar, and the McConkey agar. On McConkey agar we can differentiate between the lactose fermenter and lactose non-fermenter. In case of the pneumonia, the lactose fermenter may be the most of the time the Klebsiella pneumoniae, and lactose non-fermenter most of the time the Pseudomonas. On blood agar, the beta hemolytic most of the Staphylococcus aureus or Streptococcus pyogenes, and alpha hemolytic means the Streptococcus pneumoniae. And on Burford charcoal yeast agar, the colonies of the Legionella pneumophila appears the white gray to the blue gray. And when you put the ultraviolet lights on these colonies, the colonies are fluorescence like the yellow green colonies. So this is all about the today lab. If you have any question, it is more than welcome to ask me. If it is clear, so you are free to leave. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. So no question. So okay. So now you can left. Okay. Thank you very much.